always more bounties to collect. After the Narian War, there were issues with extrajudicial vigilantism involving bounty hunting. The Trackers Alliance was formally established and sanctioned by the Freestar Collective and the United Colonies as a way to combat this growing problem. The governments of the settled systems hire us for our specialized skills and allow us to operate largely unhindered in exchange for holding us accountable. This mutual trust is rarely breached. Certainly, it's largely the same whether you're finding targets of opportunity with your scanner, taking on an elite tracker bounty mission, or going after a target of interest. After you've convinced your target to surrender, or subdued them through non-lethal force, you can register them with the system. Registering them lets either local law enforcement or a specialized tracker know to come transport them away. I can see why you would ask, but no. Criminals are punished by the justice system depending on their crimes. Some of those punishments can be harsh. Not everyone in the Alliance feels the same about the motto, as it's a bit of a holdover from older times. It's more of a tradition, and it serves as a reminder to never give up and pursue your targets to the end of the universe, so they can face justice one way or another. We have trackers who specialize in prisoner escort and detainment, rather than what we're asking you to do. They have the ships and equipment required to ensure successful handoff to the appropriate authority. Yes, I won't go into the particulars, but even if you are in the furthest reaches of space, someone will eventually be directed to pick up your target. With someone on their way, your target would not get far. They would be charged with additional felonies. It would only be worse for them. Our system works pretty well for us. I am no one, by design. There has always been and always will be an Agent Number 1 to lead us. Upon assuming the mantle, one loses all traces of identity, including all of one's records and history, even gender and voice. You can imagine, many would seek to do harm to one in this position. To protect family and associates, our identity is more than confidential. It is eliminated from existence. Yes and no. When one attains this position, ties to family and other associates are cut off. That is the most difficult aspect. As far as anyone knows, my former self is dead. Records of my life are mysteriously lost. I assume that is difficult for those one leaves behind. However, I am fortunate that I did not have many family, associates, or records to lose. My name was no great loss, nor were other aspects of my identity. I never conformed to gender, for instance. For me, it was an easy decision. They call me Agent Number 1, or Agent No One. Use they or them when speaking about me, as to further protect my identity. However, that had already been my preference. I will simply state that our partnership with the United Colonies and Freestar Collective comes with some powerful tools. As a rank-and-file tracker, it is not a requirement, but it is advised, for the safety of those you know. For a leader such as myself, it is an absolute necessity for the safety of the entire organization. Know that to attain my position of leadership, it was a combination of deeds, competency, professionalism, and above all, trust. An agent takes on a more administrative role, whereas trackers primarily work in the field. Often, when time and age catches up with the tracker, they become an agent, as their experience and wisdom is valued, and it can be difficult to reassimilate into society. Both roles are equally crucial to our operation.
I don't mind these breaks in the silence. I'm pleased you chose to join us. Call me inevitable.
For you, I will try to be more careful.
You're welcome. All I did was extend the invitation. You decided to follow through and brought yourself. I didn't choose to recruit you, but I did the research and tracked you down. Surprisingly, it was not easy. For you, yes. A good tracker should be as a shadow. Elusive, unnoticed, yet ever-present. For me, let's just say it exposes a vulnerability in my armor. Perhaps my skills are not, what they once were. Not much, I've been doing this longer than any of the other trackers, even Agent Number 1. I pay little mind to the claim I was the best. I've no need to compare and no ego to feed. Not like Roach chasing some asinine record. My specialty is tracking our most elusive targets, which takes longer. Sometimes months or years. I do my job thoroughly, and that's all there is to it. That being said, I rarely go on the hunt these days. My experience is now far more valuable as an agent than a field tracker.
You must ask them. Or you can take a mission from the bounty board downstairs.
Not quite. It is rare that a tracker lives long enough that they can choose to retire. Those who do are truly fortunate. Some of us decide to continue our service to the Alliance as agents and offer our services as guides and teachers. Our experience is valued. Does that worry you at all? Does it change your mind about wanting to be a tracker? Of course. Just understand that I'm the exception, not the rule. This is dangerous work, even by your standards. Yes, patience is your #1 virtue. That is something I did not understand fully when I was younger and less experienced. As a novice tracker, I was impetuous. One of my early quarries took advantage of this. He would wait for me to act rashly and falter, which gave him the upper hand he needed to escape. The cycle would repeat, and he evaded me for years. It wasn't until I understood the value of patience that I caught up with him, and finally claimed the bounty on his head. It's how I earned my call sign. It may take time, but I always get my mark. Be well.
The jails are starting to fill up, thanks to you. What are you standing around for when there's fugitives on the loose? I did tell you I would, didn't I? Okay, fine. Been bounty hunting for a while. Before that, I was a line cook at a shitty little restaurant in Neon, of all things. Got no family, no close friends. In other words, no liabilities getting in the way of being the best tracker in the history of the Alliance. That's me in a nutshell. Well, you weren't that bad of a partner. You kind of grew on me. That and I need someone to compare bounty scores with. Was hoping you'd be game. All these other losers think it's beneath them or something. Great! I had a good feeling about you. You've got a lot of catching up to do if you want to even approach my numbers, but don't think I'll just stop and let you.
Yes? Speak quickly.
I have seen death. I have seen tragedy. I have seen more beg for their lives than I can count. But what I haven't seen is a fledgling tracker seemingly so willing and eager to speak with me so soon after joining. What knowledge do you hope to gain from our interaction?
That seems like a waste to me.
I will not acknowledge that with a response. I hope you take any further conversation more seriously. I am Yama. I borrow this name from the god of the dead, who judges the souls I usher to him. I must warn you, my advice may not be palatable. I hope those are not just words. I strongly insist that you consider heeding my advice. If you are given the choice between bringing your targets in alive or dead, always choose dead. Criminal fugitives must be brought to justice, and the only way to truly serve that justice is to end their lives so that they can be judged fairly in the afterlife. Correct. A criminal fugitive is already trying to run from justice. They will do it again, if given the chance. It is in their nature. Would you allow even a slim chance that they escape again, even if they turn from their criminal path, would you deny their victims true justice? That is true, and yet the thought that they would go unjudged for so long would eat away at me. But I realize that may not be your belief, so I will not try to convince you any further. My stories are not for your amusement, but I will share one so that you may learn from my mistake. There was one time I decided to let a man live. He had a family, a wife, 3 children. He showed me a picture. They looked happy. He begged I let him live and spend the rest of his days incarcerated. So, at least he could see them occasionally and watch his children grow up from afar. He escaped from prison. He went home and murdered his entire family, and the family next door, and several others. By the time I found him again, he had killed himself, robbing me of the chance to pass him off to face his eternal judgment. Never again. There is not much I wish to divulge. Whatever you have heard about me is likely true. I do not bring back my targets alive. I aim for brutal efficiency. I do not work well with others. You must know, I do not feel the need to appease or delight anyone. I take jobs no one else wants, and I always get it done. That is my value. May the shadows guide your path.
You're really making a name for yourself, I see.
Pull up a seat. There's no judgment here.
Well, if it ain't, Now what call sign did you take again? Mantis? Huh. Could be confusing with the real Mantis out there, but, why not? Well, I can see why you'd take that name. You got my seal of approval. Not that you need it. Name's Bloodhound. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Loads. But let me tell you just one. So, I'm down at some ass-backwards moon outpost out in the boonies. Got this old feller in my sights who's wanted for thieving from Ryujin and the other big corpos. Now, he don't know I ain't gonna shoot him, but he's itching to do something stupid. Then his kids come out, and his grandkids form a circle around him. Turns out, he's stealing so they can all just have a life. I get it. So I let him go. Far as the corpos know, he's dead. Yep, I got cussed out pretty good. But sometimes, it's worth it to do some good in the verse. Sure, I'm a veritable wealth of information. Anything particular on your mind? Now that's a tough one. Depends on the situation. If you can't convince them with words, you may have to rough them up and put the fear of God in them. I suggest you learn as much as you can about human anatomy and physiology. It ain't pretty, but there are many things you can do to a body that ain't lethal, but may cause someone to wish they were. Personally, I prefer the diplomatic approach. Just because we're all certified badasses who could easily lay out the toughest spacer punk doesn't mean you're not human. If you ask me, words are a tracker's most effective tool. You'd be surprised how far a little sympathy can take you sometimes. And failing that, most targets are cowards. They don't want to die. Exploit that fact when you can. Well, it ain't what I'd call hot tips, but they serve me well. Eat right, stay hydrated, exercise, just stay healthy. Don't hunt if you're sick. Last thing you want is an errant cough or sneeze to give you away when you're trying to use the element of surprise. Good luck out there.
Damn floor again earlier.
Yes, that was likely me.
Well, could you not? I'm tired of cleaning up after you. I mean, look at you now. Not a speck of blood on you. You clearly know how to clean up after yourself.
For you, I will try to be more careful, but I make no promises.
Fine. Well, maybe I don't make any promises to give you a clean glass to drink out of. How's that for you? Feel free to tell old Twosh what's on your mind. Well, you're a new face. Ain't every day we get fresh meat for the grinder. What do we call you, Tracker? Mantis? Not like the Mantis, though, right? You know what? Better to leave it a mystery. What can I get for you, Mantis? Oh, where are my manners? They call me Twosh, or even Twosh for short. Used to be a tracker in the field like you. But I traded in gunslinging for slinging drinks. I sell drinks to wet your whistle and other provisions you may need out there. So what'll it be? You know it, Sunshine. Who do you want to know about? There's no story there. That's kind of the point with any Agent No One. You gotta give up your identity completely when you become leader of the Trackers. That job comes with a giant target on your back. So, the less people know, the better. Agent No One is like a closed book. If that book were also glued, clamped, chained, and buried underneath an active volcano on the most distant moon of the most distant planet of the furthest star system. Bloodhound's one of the old-timers. He's good people, but I hear that wasn't always the case. I can't say for sure, but based on some of the stories he used to tell, I think he was ex-Fleet. As in the Crimson Fleet. Quite a turn to go from an outlaw to someone who chases outlaws. But the skills transfer pretty well, I imagine. Oh, she's been doing this longer than anyone, I think. She's old, but don't count her out just yet. Rumor is she was next in line for Agent No One, but turned it down after the last one was killed. She even brought the killer to justice. Word is, she just liked fugitive recovery a lot more. Or didn't want the responsibility. I lean more towards the latter. It makes more sense considering she's an agent now. Anyway, they used to say that the longer she bides her time, the more a fugitive has to fear. He talks a big game, even has the skills and stats to back it up. But you probably also know as well as I do that he is fiercely competitive. You can either play into it or ignore it. He's not that bad once you get to know him. You ever wonder why he's called Roach, huh? It's because he seems to be unkillable. Not literally, of course, but he's managed to get himself out of some extremely sticky situations unscathed. He's a big teddy bear. Such a departure from the norm around here. Oh, I also know he's run the Red Mile under his tracker call sign, which may get him into trouble with someone someday, but it's his decision. Other than his obsession with death, I don't know much about him. He doesn't exactly open up to others. Everyone says he must have seen or done some pretty terrible things. I don't have anything to go on but that. You know, it takes a lot to make me uncomfortable, and even though he's never done anyone here any harm, or even so much as let anyone down, he still gives me the creeps. Oh, he isn't exactly the conversational type. Seems to enjoy the company of others, but not talking to them or interacting with anyone in any meaningful way. We just leave him alone and let him do his thing. He doesn't bother us, and we don't bother him. Other than that, I don't know much about him. Seems to be a good tracker, though. You need anything, Bloodhound?
Nah, I'm good, Toosh. Hey, how's the kiddo, by the way?
She's doing great. She just lost another baby tooth. Yeah, she's really starting to read, too. Her dad's teaching her.
How about that? I remember when she was, yay high and could barely speak. Oh, bless your heart. You must be proud.
She's the light of my life. You know, she's why I'm not out there anymore. Can't put her at risk, you know? I'll just, have to live vicariously through the trackers that stole through here.
I hear that. Well, you know, anyone stupid enough to go after your girl would see us rain fire down on them faster and more ruthless than the wrath of hell itself.
I know. All the same, it was time to get out anyway. Thanks, though.
Oh, good. No one's driven you away yet.
How about that? We got a new tracker in the building. Name's Stache, and I'm more than just a pretty face. You ever need my help, you can step right over here to my little corner and we can talk shop. Whether it's for business or pleasure, that's up to you. I tinker. I make, modify, and refurbish weapons and other equipment. For trackers only. But I don't do it for free, and I don't do it for credits either. I only take Astras. And you get whatever I give you. No questions, no special requests, no refunds. I was hoping you'd ask. Back during the Narian War, there was some serious concern that the banks were going to fail. So some enterprising individuals took matters into their own hands and started minting their own currency, Astras, just in case the worst came to pass. Anyway, Astras are rare, but they're out there, still used in some black market circles since they're untraceable by any government. Catch you around. Matter of fact, I do. But the most interesting ones aren't from my tracker field work. Instead, I'm gonna take you back in time to my youth. See, I was a scrappy little neon street rat. I tinkered, built homemade weapons and armor made out of scraps I came across. You can imagine who might buy that sort of thing. That's right. Gangbangers and other lowlives. I saw what they used these weapons for. But I had to make money. And it kept me safe from the gangs because they needed me. Well, I never did care much for those gangs, the way they preyed on folks weaker than them. So, when I found out about the trackers, I decided on a career change. Turns out I wasn't much for following rules. They said I was a bit of a loose cannon. But they liked my equipment, so here I am, peddling wares for other trackers. Well, when you grow up on the neon streets, you learn to fly by the seat of your pants. That doesn't always jive with protocol, even by tracker standards. Too much collateral damage. Don't worry, no one died. But let's just say I may have temporarily increased the homeless population. Anyway, I like what I do now. I'm putting my technical skills to use in a way that Trackers Alliance appreciates. I'm working on getting some new stock, so check back again later. How's your gear holding up? No, and yes. No, it's Stache, like my mustache. Yes, it's kind of on the nose, like my mustache. Well, under it, but you get the idea. But yeah, it does work out like that, doesn't it? You're not the first to suggest it, and I doubt you'll be the last. And before you ask, no, I didn't grow the stash because I got a stash of goods or vice versa. Sometimes nicknames just stick.
Agent KoiOS, at your service. What do you request of me? Serious inquiries only. No, it It is a pseudo-acronym meant to emphasize my station as hardware and software. My programmer thought it would be clever, but clearly it goes over most heads. KoiOS was a Greek Titan god, born of Uranus and Gaia. He was known as a Titan of knowledge and queries. But I wouldn't expect you to know that. Mostly stand around waiting for someone to interact with me. I am connected to the tracker database, so when a tracker either has or needs information about a certain target, they come to me. My directive is to assist trackers with any queries they have, and if desired, give advice based on the information we have compiled. Leave no quarter, show no mercy.
Glad to be on the same path as you. Hey, what's good? Good. It's been good. Kind of easy compared to the Red Mile, maybe. I mean, people may be unpredictable, but they're easier to take down than the beasts on Porima 3. Heck, sometimes they give up willingly. And the other trackers seem to appreciate my work. Even the grumpy ones who think I'm too soft. But they shut up real quick when they see me in action. Probably because I'm too friendly. Almost everyone around here is either all business or standoffish. Maybe that's just what happens after you do this for a while. But nah, not me. Gotta take some time away from being a ruthless bounty hunter to be a real human being, you know? Otherwise, what's the point of it all? And it's the same with some of these targets. Some of them just messed up real bad and deserve another chance. You need to remember, they're people, and not just a picture with the fat cred stick attached.
You need anything, Bloodhound?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. 19 successful runs last I checked the leaderboard.
She's doing great.
Anyway, keeps my skills sharp, which is even more important now that I'm a tracker.
Her dad's
I know I don't look like much of a tracker or a runner, but I'm cool with people underestimating me. Makes it that much more special when I crush their expectations.
She's the light of my life.
I don't know. There's gotta be something, right?
Why I'm not out.
Like, how would you deal with a target that seems ready to blow your brains out, but you know he's not in his right mind? Like he's on Aurora or something.
Well, you know, anyone stupid enough to go after your girl would see us rain fire down on them faster and more ruthless than...
I hear you. Don't want to be too hasty, but you gotta watch your own hide. Unfortunately, you gotta make these decisions fast, so I wouldn't want to hesitate too much. That's a good way to get yourself killed. Good. It's been good. Kind of easy compared to the Red Mile, maybe. I mean, people may be unpredictable, but they're easier to and the other trackers seem... Hasta luego, my friend.
You must fancy yourself a bounty hunter if you're coming to speak with me. If you think you can hack taking down wanted criminals for pay, the Trackers Alliance posted the mission boards like the one you'll find at the hitching post. I haven't been in the game for a while. These days I'm more on the admin side of things, finding new recruits, dealing with freelancers, etc. But the wildest bounty I had was for a guy who smuggled several tons of Aurora off of Neon. I was hired by Benjamin Bayou himself. Simple, or so I thought. Tracked the mark across the settled systems, only to find out it was a diversion, and the guy was actually still on Volite Alpha. Built himself a little floating base using scrap crafts out in the deep waters. Swam out a ways to reach him without alerting him to my presence. When I found the guy, he was so blitzed on his own supply that he went willingly. Thought I was an angel, leading him to the promised land, instead of directly to the local authorities. Don't wind up on the wrong side of the Trackers Alliance.